One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, this is your daily drop for 11 March, brought to you by Modern Athlete Strength Systems. At Modern Athlete Strength Systems, you can get great workouts. There's two different ones that you can get, is the Warfighter and then the Warfighter Elite. There's also one-on-one coaching. They call it 90 Unchained. Now, we don't actually have a link to that, but if you go to our website, onesready.com, go to the top right where it says prep and then go to partner discounts, scroll down to where you see Modern Athlete Strength System. There's two pictures there and there's a bunch of links for Warfighter program and the Warfighter Elite program. Click on those links, figure out which program you want, use the promo code ONESREADY to get yourself a discount. Now, for the 90 Unchained, reach out to them as you're going through the consult with them. Tell them that we sent you. There's no promo code with it, but tell them that we sent you and it'll help get you a discount on that 90 Unchained. Now, for today's news, joint news, Trump, and I'll try to make it through without coughing, but you know that that's going to be impossible. What are we going on, like 12 months now where I got a freaking cough? Anyway, so this is the new format that I was talking about, just kind of down and dirty, real quick, hit them, providing you opinion on it based off of some feedback that we received. So, joint news, Trump unfazed by Russia, China, Iran drills, The Hill released on the 10th of March. President Trump dismissed joint naval drills by Russia, Iran, and North Korea, claiming U.S. superiority. He predicts positive Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia this week. So, yeah, why would... Who cares? Like, we're going to conduct our exercises. We really don't care if Russia, Iran, North Korea conduct exercises. They should be conducting exercises. Like, why wouldn't they? They need to make sure that their military is ready for whatever comes, just like we do. So why would Trump and why would the U.S. military even be concerned about exercises between Iran, which is a joke of a country, Russia, who has been getting their ass kicked logistically by Ukraine and other partner nations that are helping them out, and North Korea, which is a joke. Who cares? I mean, dude, they are clown shoes. Number two, new Joint Chiefs chair named. The Daily Caller released on the... I'm so sorry I coughed in your ear. Released on 10 March. Trump appoints Lieutenant General Dan Kane, or Raisin Kane, as the Joint Chiefs chairman, lauded for his role in crushing ISIS. Colleagues praise his drive for perfection. So I did a bro check on this guy with some of the people I know that know him. He is a phenomenal dude, a phenomenal leader, and I know that I've worked for him in the past, and I think it was back in 2016 in Afghanistan. I didn't work for him like directly, but he was involved with special operations. He was involved with other government agencies and that kind of stuff to help. And I do believe he is the right person for the job. Are there other people that are out there that are phenomenal? Of course there are, but dude, believe me, there are people that are upset that he has gotten put in as the Joint Chiefs chairman because he was a 3-star. So you had all these other 4-stars that are like, yeah, they're just prepping to take over as the Joint Chiefs. And usually it's one of the service chiefs that hops in there and takes over. But him coming as a 3-star and just skipping all of them, like, I'm here for it. And I hope all those 4-stars are upset. All right. Number 3, DOD axes climate studies. Reuters reported on the 10th of March. Defense Secretary Hegseth cancels 90-plus climate studies, saving $30 million, calling it crap. A 2018 DOD report had warned of weather threats to bases. $30 million. Okay, so forget the $30 million because that's kind of budget dust for the DOD. I mean, it's a lot of money. I promise it is a lot of money, so I acknowledge that. But like when you hear the amount of money that it costs to build a ship or a submarine or plane, you're like, yeah, $30 million or whatever. But what are we doing with over 90 climate studies? Like what all are we like? If you know and you're familiar with it, like, please comment below, because I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what we're doing with 90 climate studies. or even how they're defining those. When you start talking about threats to bases, okay, say it's a climate study on hurricanes, right? You've got, you know, Eglin, Hurlburt Field. You've got Tyndall in Panama City. You've got McDill in Tampa. What else do we have? Then you've got on the East Coast, you've got Shaw Air Force Base, Charleston Air Force Base. You've got bases in Savannah, Army bases. You've got a bunch of different bases that are impacted by hurricanes. How, okay, so we're going to study hurricanes? Like, we should study hurricanes, but I'm sure that NOAA, in NOWA, is also studying hurricanes. I can't remember what that stands for, but um, we should be focused on defense and readiness and making sure that we're operationally ready. We don't need to spend money, especially $30 million, on 90 plus climate surveys. Anyway, the B-21 needs more tankers. Aviation Week, 10 March 2025. Transcom's General Reed says the B-21 fleet will increase refueling needs per STRATCOM, or Strategic Command. This shifts support plans for the new bomber. The more aircraft we put in the air, there's going to be a larger logistics train that comes from POL on the ground, that comes from maintenance on the ground, that comes from airfield maintenance on the ground, air traffic controllers on the ground. Then that also talks about, or that also increases the requirement for air tankers, which all of that ties into the logistics train. So of course the B-21 is going to need more tankers. Now, I don't know what their range is in terms of, I mean, obviously they're global, so as long as they have a tanker, they're good. But I don't know what their fuel range is right off the bat without air refuel. But all of this is important to making sure that we are ready at a global level to either defend the U.S. or provide offensive operations. So yeah, of course we're going to need more tankers. All right, number 5, cyber threats escalate. Space News released on the 10th of March. The Navy Cyber Command tracks 8.5 billion daily cyber events, with Goddard noting better threat classification, sharing intel with industry lags as China and Russia target infrastructure. I was traveling yesterday, but I believe X got hacked. Was it a DDS or a DOS denial of service? And the amount of resources that it took, they expected it to be, because they're attacked on a daily basis, just like, this is Navy's Cyber Command, 8.5 billion daily cyber events. Now, I don't think that that's just the Navy. That's Cyber Command, which is a joint organization, but that's insane when you actually think about 8.5 billion. Now, some of those are very small attacks. Some of them are large attacks that are thwarted, and it's fantastic. But you get somebody like X that has a denial of service attack. It takes resources to do that. So for sure, Russia, North Korea, China, probably some of our own allies, if you want to look into what I'm saying, do the same thing, believe it or not. So, threats are definitely going to escalate, and I think it's only going to increase even more as more and more things go online and more of our lives go onto the internet. So, all right, on to Air Force specific news. Air Force eyes maritime role. Oop, deny that call. Sorry about that. All right, Air Force news. Air Force eyes maritime role, national defense, released on the 10th of March. The Air Force adopts maritime strike to counter China, says leaders at the symposium. Experts argue air power trumps, not President Trump, but air power trumps sea power for dominance. Ooh, I know this is Air Force news, and of course the Air Force is going to say that air power trumps sea power for dominance. I think it depends on what dominance we're talking about. If you're going to talk about dominance in the Pacific, guess what? I would say that they're probably equal. Navy dominance and air dominance, or sea dominance, is probably just as important also adding in space dominance, because you can't do those three things. In Navy, you know what I'm talking about. Air Force, you know what I'm talking about. You cannot do that stuff without the Space Force and the space capability that they bring, right? So those three, and then we haven't even talked about the Army. The Army is also going to be required as well, but I would argue that they're going to come in afterwards, right? Because you're going to need the Space, Air Force, and Navy to provide superiority in the space, air, and sea domains before you can go take superiority over land. So Air Force pipe down a little bit, of course. And to be fair to the Air Force, right? The Air Force is going to be involved in that maritime role as well. And I think that's what they're talking about here, because believe it or not, we have longer legs than the Navy. We have radars that can help see things at sea. So it's layered effects, right? You don't have just one thing. All right, Navy's only taking care of sea, Air Force is only taking care of air. There's overlapping capabilities in that, so that if something happens logistically with the air and the Air Force can't get, you know, some B-21s or F-35s in an area, well, guess what? The Navy can launch aircraft and get their own F-35s in that area to help out. So yeah, it's all layered effects. We talked about it yesterday a little bit, but I wasn't sure where the new F-35 unit's going to be for Air National Guard, but it looks like it's going to be in Florida. The 125th Fighter Wing receives its first 3 F-35As, replacing their F-15s. Commanders say that it strengthens national defense readiness. Absolutely. F-15s are extremely capable, but when you start talking about 5th gen fight, popping into that 5th gen, it's definitely going to help. That's not to say that F-15s do not have game in the 5th gen fight, because they 100% have game in the 5th gen fight. There's something to be said with staying, below the horizon. Like, we still can't see through mountains, right? And an F-15 can get really, really low. So, you can have all these jammers, you can have all these Gucci things that the 5th gen have and the 6th gen will have, but it still can't make you completely disappear like a mountain can. Enola Gay photos were purged. Snopes reported on the 10th of March. Air Force removes Enola Gay images in an anti-DEI sweep of websites. Errors may have been reversed if flagged, says the spokesperson. I can tell you exactly what this is. This is somebody did, was it Control F or Control R, find and replace, and anybody put in, any kind of DEI word, so probably the word gay was in there, and somebody said find and replace or find and remove. Or they use ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT. What do they call? What did the Army call it? They called it like Camo GPT to remove things. So you done messed up, AA Ron. They'll fix that. All right. Let's see. I talked about the Mar-a-Lago airspace breaches yesterday. F-16s intercepted 2 aircraft, violating Mar-a-Lago's no-fly zone over the weekend. NORAD General Gillay blames pilots ignoring NOTAMs. I talked about it the other day. Pilots ignore NOTAMs all the time. It's not right, wrong. I mean, obviously it's wrong, but it's not crazy unusual, even though in this article they said it was unusual. But whatever, they launched them and they got after them. So the Golden Dome. This one is space news, Space Force news. The Golden Dome needs unity. Meritalk, 10 March 2025. General Goodlane, I think, says Trump's Golden Dome missile defense demands national effort, like the Manhattan Project. Space Force plans focus on integration architectures. Yeah, it's not going to be just Space Force, just Army, just Navy. I mean, I know like Army and Patriot missiles, that's their gig. It's going to take everybody to provide support and integration to this Golden Dome. I talked about it earlier with the layered effects. That's what this is going to take. So, yeah. Well, last one is North Korea fires missiles. Stars and Stripes wrote on 10 March. North Korea launches missiles during the U.S. South Korean Freedom Shield drill. Live fire paused after a prior accidental bombing. We talked about the South Korea's bombing for F-16s and that kind of stuff, and how terrible that was and how that should have never happened. Although accidents do happen, it's no surprise that North Korea would launch a missile. And we kind of do the same thing too. Like, let's be real, we do the same exact thing, and it's a little bit of a provocation, but at the same time, it's a, hey, just so you know, we're still serious and we still have this capability. That's what North Korea is doing. They're sending a message, kind of like we had an ICBM test launch on, it was either inauguration day or it was the election day. I can't remember what it was, but like same kind of thing, right? And those tests are programmed out and planned out a long time in advance, but there's no way that somebody pointed to that inauguration day or that election day, because I can't remember which day it was, and didn't say, "Ooh, this is a good day to do it," regardless of whatever the outcome was the president, or the presidential outcome was. They wanted to make it happen. They planned it for that day. And so we do the same exact thing. So let's not be thinking that this is some crazy ass thing, right? So anyway, that, there is one more actually. Ukraine's F-16 risk, Business Insider 10 March release. Trump's aid pause threatens Ukraine's F-16s with part shortages. Europe considers Sweden's Gripen as a replacement option. So the Gripen's a very capable aircraft, but it is not an F-16. It does not have the same capabilities as an F-16. The F-16 is superior to the Gripen. The Swedish pilots are very capable. So what I don't know is, are they just going to give them the Gripens and the Ukrainian pilots are going to fly it, or will Sweden's pilots fly their Gripens? I don't know. It doesn't go into detail about that. Probably there's some classification issues on it anyway. But hey man, when we say we're going to pause stuff, that means we're pausing everything. Yesterday we talked about pausing the intel and the imagery. Like, this is part of it. So deal with it. That's it for the news. Please head over to onesready.com. Like I talked about, Modern Athlete Shrink System, onesready.com, top right, hit prep, partner discount, scroll down to where you see Modern Athlete Shrink Systems, Warfighter Elite, 90 Unchained. Hit the links, use the promo code to get yourself a discount, and that lets them know that we sent you. And get yourself ready for the pipeline, or just ready for life, because you need to be generally prepared for anything that happens in life, whether you got to pull somebody out of the car, whether you got to pull somebody out of a ditch and then provide CPR on them for an hour. Like, that's, just make sure you're ready for life. All right, we're out here. Later.